Good day, everyone. Today I'm going to bring you a demonstration of decision point. This demonstration is done by Andrei Stanescu, who is the technical solutions architect at Cryptodata. I think he did a phenomenal job, so I'm going to share that with you. This was done actually a few months ago, but it's relevant today, and I want you to enjoy this as I did. Just
I know you like demos, at least I do. So I think it's relevant to just take a quick look to see decision point in action. So if you just excuse me for a second, I'll go ahead and share my screen. I'll go ahead and share. I think it's loading. Yep. Yeah, I think it's good. So this is decision points. After we manage to log in, we will see a really simple and intuitive search bar that allow us to do search for companies. Let's just quickly click on it and let's go with Tesla. Great. So the first thing that stands out is that the user has 4 modes of visualizing data. They can have a beginner view, they can have an advanced view, they have a pro view, and also a custom view. Okay, you can see everything here at the top of the screen. If we also take a look here at the top on the let's say top side of it, if I'll just quickly move this around. Yeah, if you take a look over the top section of it, you can see that everything here in this context is time bounded. So obviously the user has to customize the dates in which he wants to see information regarding the indicators and eventually regarding the whole company. So again, everything that we do in decision points and in any other application that is based on the C++ technology, everything has to be between some timestamps. In this case, I've used the filter between the 17th of January and the 20th. So it also includes data from today. Great. So let's take a short look over the mini dashboards, let's say. The first mini dashboard that you can see here on the left-hand side is basically just containing some simple information about the company. You can see the name of the company, you can see the sector, you can see the industry, you can see the year in which it was funded, also the country, the CEO, and the website. This is just some like basic information about the company. But then you can see that a lot of indicators are being around. So I think it's relevant to just briefly discuss about all of them and then go through a really nice example that I was able to interpret before the beginning of the market. So let's just go slowly, step by step, with the first indicator. This is the momentum indicator. What it basically does, this indicator identifies the existence of an action that carries a certain, let's say, intensity generated by accumulation of factors and emotions. With other words, the momentum indicator finds out when the price is moving upward or downward and how strongly. Has something good or bad happened in the market? How much did the news affect the company and the stock price? Let's take, for example, let's say Tesla had an amazing third quarter financial results. Well, that will probably mean that the company will have an uptrending momentum. In this case, we can see that the momentum is downtrending. So why is this useful? Well, it aids in identifying moments of interest in order to analyze certain fluctuations and what caused them. Again, Decision Point is a tool which does sentiment analysis, especially on the news which are coming in daily. So the momentum that you see here is basically a sum of everything that has happened during the time interval that I've set initially, so that we can understand that, okay, there's something in the news that influence the company momentum to go down. So probably the price of the moment is in a downtrend. Again, for me at least, and for the target group that I've defined previously, I believe it's also like this specific indicator aids in observing when the factor accumulation began and how long it will continue. So again, momentum for me is one of the most important indicators which help me take a decision really fast, especially when I try to invest on a long term in a stock, when I, for example, decide to invest in options. And we are confident that the whole focus group and the whole addressable market will have a benefit whenever they look in this specific indicator. Then below the momentum indicator, you can also see the marketing presence indicator, which is really simple. Me as a user, I'm able to observe how a company, like how visible is a company in the market. Based on the visibility rate, we can, of course, go through a lot of conclusions, such as we can understand the brand image from a quantitative point of view, meaning that, let's say, we can understand how much the company has been talked about. The bigger the number, of course, the wider the audience. Also, I believe that the marketing presence indicator helps whether we are able to see the company's necessities, the contributions, and the importance obtained through its propagation speed and distance. We can understand whether there are any, let's say, bubbles, any speculations, especially on the news regarding the overall company. But yeah, in large, I think this is the idea. It's a quantitative indicator which helps you indicate how much has been talked about, how visible is the company throughout the internet. And you can see that in this specific example, there have been quite some news being published in the last couple of days. Let's go to the social indicators tab, which is right here on the right-hand side at the top. So this mini dashboard in specific will help you better understand how the world is perceiving the company. And by world, I mean everything that has been written in the media. Let's go just step by step because each of the indicators has a specific meaning, which I think is relevant to just quickly discuss about. Let's go through the first one. We have the investment risk indicator. This specific indicator offers information about the company's risk level according to indicators and emotions. It basically helps the investors see how risky is an investment in this specific company. Why is it useful? I think it's really clear. It analyzes why a particular risk level exists and what it's composed of. It analyzes the existence of a, let's say, possible bubble or speculation or strange situation. It also analyzes the risky situations that may have an impact on the price evolution. And yeah, I think for me as an investor, again, either on the long term or on the short term, it helps me take better decisions because it's really important for me to have a positive ROI, and this specific indicator will show me exactly how risky is my investment. And of course, whether I decide this is, let's say, a suitable risk for me or not. This is the investment risk indicator. Again, we're in the beginner and the basic dashboard, so we only have a couple of information, but you'll see in the example that a lot of information from here can actually help with taking better decisions when investing. Then we have the company value. The company value indicates whether the stock price per share is overpriced or underpriced according to its actual value. You can see that in this example. Decision Point believes that the company value is actually undervalued. So why is it useful? Again, I'll say from my experience, I'm always looking to see companies which have really great growth potential. So in this specific case, obviously, I can decide that, hey, this can be a great investment on the long term because the growth potential can be exponential. Also, I believe that aids in identifying eventual risky situations and observing various, let's say, speculations in the markets. And lastly, I think it creates a more complete image when taking actions with regards to like certain company. So yeah, again, I think it's a really basic indicator, but at its essence, I think it expresses a lot of valuable information for the investors. Then we have the general opinion indicator, which obviously displays like the, let's say, general mood regarding the company over a selected period of time. Of course, extracted from online sources. For me, and I believe for the whole target market, it's helpful because it helps in identifying people's opinion about the company. You can see that here the general opinion is oriented towards good. But of course, sources can also, let's say, express negative emotions, but you can see that in this specific case, the emotions about the company are in a positive direction. And of course, for investors, it aids in identifying how a company is viewed in the market, of course, in order to identify its value. So yet again, this is an indicator which helps both from, let's say, from a long-term perspective investment and also from a short-term investment. Then towards the right, we have the company power indicator. This is an indicator that offers information about how strong a company is in the market from the perspective of economic growth and the positive opinion surrounding its media image. Why is this useful? Well, it helps in identifying the importance of a company. Because again, if they have a really good market share and if they have a really high economic potential growth, I think is really relevant, and I think it's really detrimental when taking decisions. Also, we can identify whether the company's strength and action development, or in, let's say, recovering from poor decisions. We can see this via this indicator. We can also see, for example, that the company decisions may have been analyzed according to its strength it has achieved so far in market perceptions. Again, this can be considered the power of a company in the specific market. Then towards to the right, we have the company trust. This company in specific, you can see that its percentage is about 75%. This indicator defines the level of trust from the market perspective about the company. So how trustworthy is the company? Have they achieved their goals? Have they done what they promised overall? It's really interesting to see this indicator in order to analyze the evolution of trust of a company. Just to see on a day-by-day chart, or let's say on a weekly chart, how they communicate and how their communication is perceived in the world and how the world gives feedback via news, just to see how trustworthy the company becomes, or of course untrustworthy. It can go both sides. Of course, I think investors can benefit on this just to do like a short analysis of the element that influence trust in the company. So yet again, I think the trust indicator is something that a lot of investors are looking for. And last but not least, on the social indicators mini dashboard, we have the price gap. This is an indicator that shows basically the discrepancy between the price prediction and the real price that actually was at market close. Of course, nobody can do a 100% accurate decision constantly. And yeah, of course, please remember, a trader and an investor usually take into account three components. We have the technical analysis, the fundamental analysis, and the sentiment analysis. Even if the sentiment and fundamental analysis that Decision Point offers, even though this information is accurate, there are many factors that influence the price of a share. So that's why we found it relevant to calculate a short indicator that shows the price gap. We believe it's relevant because, again, there are multiple factors that affect the price. Then we have the social charts. It basically displays the value of the social indicators on a defined timeline, as you can see in this example. And almost last but not least, we have the price charts. It basically displays the price of one share of the company each day. And last but not least, we have the social circumflex. I will let Adela speak on this topic. I don't want to get, let's say, into too much detail here. What I would like to mention, though, is that the social circumflex that you'll be able to see is based on some really well-established theories and represents a circular distribution of emotion words based on the interpretation of news. Long story short, I will let Adela speak on this topic more broadly. So this, as I've said, is the beginner dashboard of Decision Point. I'd like to go through an example because, again, I've shown you the interface. Let's go through how personally I would interpret the whole situation here. Let's take the momentum indicator, okay? Let's say I'm an options trader. Based on the momentum indicator, I may be thinking that I can be looking to buy some put options on the stock exchange. I can go ahead and, for example, do my technical analysis and see what bear flags can I find. Because again, I'm deciding that the company is going downwards, and I believe that buying some put options would be beneficial for me, and I would be ROI positive. Of course, I'm looking into the technical analysis part just to see some confirmation. But Decision Point helped me to take the initial decision. The stock price is probably going down. And now I can look for confirmation. Also in Decision Point, also using, let's say, other methods. If I take into account, let's say, the company value indicator, I can see that on a long-term perspective, the stock seems undervalued, which means that maybe I can play and I can buy some put options on a very short term, maybe some short-term scalps just for fast profit. If I, for example, take a look on the social chart, I can see that the general opinion, which is in green, I can see that at the moment is downtrending, which is a great confirmation for me. It means that the public will probably have a tendency to sell. And again, I can take advantage of that. Also, let's take a short look at the circumflex. I know I haven't gone into a lot of details, but just to confirm my theory, I can see that for example, irritation level and the apprehension level are quite up, which means for me that probably there's a feeling of agitation. Some audiences are dissatisfied. Apprehension in general implies an unpleasant emotional state oriented towards the future, of course. And again, I see great signs. So I see great signs for me as an option trader to buy some put options just by simply interpreting what I see here in Decision Point. However, if I want to be like a long-term investor, what I've seen so far can be a signal for me to buy the stock now for a really big return in 3, 6, 12 months, just because the stock at the moment is at a very good price. So again, I can take advantage of the situation even if I were a long-term investor. Of course, if the price would be uptrending, the whole decision process would be different. But in this specific case, this is what goes through my mind. This is my mindset. This would be my mindset if I were to use the product right now as the stock exchange is currently opened. There are many more indicators in the advanced and the pro tabs, which I, for example, can take into consideration, but this is subject for just another seminar. Until this point, yeah, this is the, let's say, main actions and main decisions that I'm able to take just by looking at these charts. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing this. This was the example. This was the let's say the overall presentation and demo. What I'd like to discuss about now is decision point as a product, because I think it's really important for everyone to better understand. So at the moment, decision point and its outputs are available in two formats: a complete ready-to-use application, which you've seen so far, or through APIs. The application offers various indicators that display company-related information extracted from used data. Also, the API offers the feeds, like outputs, for each indicator so that the customers can integrate them as needed. So, of course, I've seen a lot of discussion also on Telegram, also in throughout the internet. There is competition on this market segment, but in my opinion, that's a good thing. It shows the fact that there is demand for these kind of applications. From Prisma Analytics studies, we've seen that the global market for sentiment analysis software was estimated around 1.6 billion in 2020 and is projected to reach about 4.3 billion by 2027. I've personally tested some apps from competitors, and I saw some really clear advantages from Decision Point in a head-to-head comparison. Decision Point, for me, is an application that includes multiple indicators under one umbrella at a smaller overall cost than any other similar tools. What you've seen so far are just a couple of indicators, but again, in the advanced and pro tabs, we have a lot of them. All the indicators listed will be available within one application, again, one umbrella. And of course, there will be other tools and solutions which will follow up Decision Point. But until that point in time, I think that is one main advantage. I wasn't able to find a specific application which includes this kind of complexity. Also, again, I think a competitive advantage is that developers and the community can use this this information and integrate anything they want via an API. What else can I say? I believe that this kind of solution in terms of sentiment analysis, it's much more extensive than what I was able to find on the market. And on top of that, I believe Decision Point addresses several of the most pressing issues businesses and clients face today. Again, it analyzes data from more news sources that any human could consume. And of course, it makes sense of it by extracting all the business relevant information and displaying it in an, let's say, easy, understandable format. And I think that's important. Decision Point, in my opinion, also represents a solution to a lot of issues by providing basic, comprehensive, holistic, and yet specific information to aid in all decision making that in comparison with what we were able to see in the market so far. And yeah, I mean, from what I talk with the team, the data sources are all inclusive, making basically the results output that you're able to see throughout the application extremely well-rounded. So I think, again, that's a really great competitive advantage. So yeah, this was Decision Points. For me, a total game changer in 2020. I would like to say hello to the whole community and to the people joining in Zoom and also on YouTube, and to all the people which will be seeing this later on. I know that a lot of you managed to follow along and got a lot of valuable information from this presentation, but I also imagine that you have a lot of questions. So I'll pass the microphone back to Chris.
All right. So I'm sure you enjoyed and got a lot out of that demo by Andre. He did a phenomenal job, as I mentioned before. I think, I learn things every time I watch it. So great. Now, one of the points that was mentioned there is that he did an evaluation. Uh, he ran, what is it, Tesla, right? So Tesla the prediction was that it was going down. Remarkably, well, within hours, Tesla did, in fact, do just that.
But Decision Point helped me to take the initial decision. The stock price is probably going down.